Hello and welcome to the panel shows Play the Game. My name is Allira Cohrs and I will be your host today. I have three fantastic guests with me. Now we have Claire Robertson, a woman who is making her way within Ironman competition. We have Adam DOBB, a gentleman who is obsessed with baseball and actually owns a baseball team and company himself. And we have Grant TOULMIN, who is a professional ice hockey player with degrees in criminal justice. Guys, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Claire, let's start with you. Female within an Ironman competition.
Yes.
Tell us, how did you get to that point and how did your passion start for this?
Yeah, sure. So wanting to get into, always wanting to keep healthy, helps us prevent injuries and diseases throughout your life. So started running about 10 years ago. It was with a group that was helping to raise funds for cancer research, but it was helping me get fit with a coach. So couldn't run for a bus, and my first program was a 10K, the bridge run. That was a massive challenge. How can I run 10Ks? Couldn't do that. So within 10 weeks, achieved that. Right, what's the next goal? So moving on to half marathons, so you're getting into the big distances. Then the lure of being English and only being able to swim in the bath, learnt to ocean swim. That was a massive fear. So overcame ocean swimming. And then, well, why not get a bike as well? So having ridden a shopper bike for 30 years, bought my first road bike and got into triathlons. So starting off with the sprint distance, which is a 750 metre swim, followed by a 20k bike and a 5k run. Doesn't sound very much, but it's quite a lot the first time you do it. And just the momentum gained and peer pressure to move up to the different distances. So that led to the Olympic distance, which is twice of the sprint, and then double again for the half Ironman distance, which is also known as 70.3, and then the big kahuna of the full Ironman distance.
You make it sound so easy.
Oh.
You really do. And you've actually, you just competed in WA, is that correct?
Yes, in the Ironman Western Australia, in Busselton, which is 3 hours south of Perth. So flew over there last week, hopped on the plane on Friday, competed on the Sunday, and then here I am.
Okay, and how does the body hold up after events like this? Do you really feel that for a week, 2 weeks after, or you're good to go?
Amazingly, doing a marathon, which is just the end part of an Ironman, I'm actually sorer after a marathon, sole event, than I am after an Ironman. It's because you're doing the three disciplines over a very long time. Yes, your body's tired, but really by Wednesday, I was fine.
Okay. Is there any funky or special preparation that you do the lead up to these sort of events?
Yes, 5 months of training.
Yeah.
So that's
funky.
Yes. So at the peak of training, about 3 weeks out from the event, you're doing about 18 hours a day. Not a day. 18 hours of exercise a week. 1, 2, 3 sessions a day. Hopefully with a rest day in between. And now that does sound a lot, but you build up to that. With the training, you also have to look at your nutrition. Sleep is a major part of your training, and getting help by allied professionals, so nutritionists, physios, chiros. You can't just turn up at 7 o'clock on the Sunday morning and do an Ironman. There is a lot of support that goes with that. And also it's your community around you, it's your friends that need to support you as well. It's not just the training and the nutrition, it's having social and mental support by your friends as well.
Of course, and fitness and health is such a big element within it, but the mental capacity as well for people that compete in your demographic. You have to be so strong-willed and so strong-minded. So what do you do to prepare mentally for that?
Yeah. Well, I'm an ordinary person doing an extraordinary event. I'm your average Joe. I'm not professional. I'm never going to be on the podium. So it's all about pushing myself in my realm. And from a mental perspective, I'm out there for 14 hours doing the event. The winners are, well, the World Championship is 7 hours 40. So if you take it, I'm out there twice as long. So mentally, it's believing that you can do it, and it's you have to do the training to know there. But actually on the day, when you're putting all those three elements together, that's when the mental challenge kicks in. And it's having keywords that will push you forward, and that belief that there's that red finish line that you're going to cross. And yes, there's challenging moments on the marathon part of the event, but that red carpet, it just melts away and you fly down that red carpet.
Do you find that you grow after each event, you become stronger, you find different areas that you've improved, or you find areas that you need more improvement in? Is that something that you take away from each event?
Yes, definitely. And I made a point of using another coach this time to have a different experience. And for me, it's not just the race day, it's about the journey to get there, because it's hard and I want to enjoy that journey. And so by doing slightly different training, I just knew, I got onto the swim and I knew that I could do it because I believed in the training that I'd done. And halfway through the swim, I just went, I'm fit enough to do this, and just kept putting on, and there we were down the end of the line. But yes, it's for me, because it's such a big event on the day and time-wise, that I want to have a different journey during my training, so it's mixing it up.
Sure, and I guess there's no feeling in the world like seeing that red carpet and then you know that you're going to get your medal at the end. Is it just this euphoric feeling, or do you feel a little bit delusional when you're looking at it going, am I dreaming that that's there, or is it actually there?
For the marathon part, you do lose your mind. There could be some swearing and there could be some crying. But really, as soon as you hit that M-DOBB carpet, the lights, the music, the crowd, it melts all away. And where you're struggling to put one foot in front of the other for the last half an hour of the run, I fly. My heels are kicking up. My hands are above my head, whereas I couldn't have picked up a cup 5 minutes ago. And it just melts away. And why does that happen? It's the adrenaline. It's the knowing it's going to be over. But the pride in the time and amount of energy that you've put into your training has all paid off, that you're nearly finished and there's a medal and a towel. But the fact that you can call yourself an Ironman, and as big-headed as it sounds, it's a big deal for me personally. And just pride in that you've accomplished something that not many other people can do.
Sure.
Or not can do. Everybody can do it that want to do it.
Sure, Claire, we've actually got some footage of you, so we're just going to have a look. Claire, that was some amazing footage. So with preparation, look, it can either go really well or it can go really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had one of those moments where your prep just goes so wrong and your body breaks down within a race and it doesn't go the way that you planned?
I have been blessed, but I take it slowly. So the different distances I've just jumped up, I've done 5 or 6 of that distance before going up to the next one. So I've been very lucky that I haven't been too plagued by injury in that regard. But there's always those training sessions that are horrible, that you hate, and why am I here? What's the point of this? Certainly with Ironman training, with the bike rides, you're doing 140k, 160k bike rides on weekends. They go for hours and they're just awful. So it's just, sometimes there may be tears, but it's just knowing that there is an end goal for it. Part of it is like, why am I doing this? But you just know that it's for your own adulation and your Facebook likes, but also it's pride in yourself and what you've achieved, and it's a massive accomplishment. And for me, it's to say again that I'm an ordinary person and doing an extraordinary event, but if I can do it, you can too, just by putting in a bit of time, some training and dedication, and achieving. But yes, you will have those awful training sessions, and it's just backing it up and putting it away. You're not going to get a PB every time you do something, so it's just pushing on.
It's really inspiring, Claire. It really is. So I guess it's safe to say on weekends you don't like going bike riding. What passions outside of your sport? Not bike riding and swimming and all that sort of stuff?
Well, I am a bit odd, and peer pressure, and most of my friends are involved in the sport. So if we're going out, it'll be a lunch and it'll be talking about, what kit did you buy, and what other events shall we do after this? But for me, I love travel, so it's planning a holiday, which usually is around a triathlon or a marathon. So it's find the event, then build a holiday around it. So New York Marathon, Queenstown Marathon. We went to Disneyland and completed the DOBB Challenge, which is 4 days of four running events. So a 5K, a 10K, a half marathon and a full marathon. But you run through Disney and you get to have your photo taken with Mickey Mouse. So why wouldn't you?
So much better. So much better.
And there's 6 medals, and for me, it's about the medals.
Is there Mickey Mouse on the medal?
Yeah.
Lovely. I'm sure the body would have been really sore after that event.
Well, because you have to enjoy it. So I'm not getting a PB, so I took my time, had my photo taken with Mickey and Minnie, and I have lost a few toenails through the events, but it's the good feeling, the adrenaline, and
the fun of it.
Yeah,
of course. So Grant, you can relate to that.
Yeah, I can. Lost a couple toenails myself.
Yeah.
Your sport is quite unique.
Yeah, absolutely. Ice hockey is it's physical, it's fast, and all fights kind of break out, and that's where you're going to get some sort of weird injuries all over the place. It's exciting as well.
So do you find that your prep is hard as well for games? Do you have any special protocol that you do, or is it months on end?
Yeah, well, hockey players are a bit of creatures of habit. We're very superstitious when it comes to maybe the day of a game. Guys like to eat the same thing, they go through the same routines, same sort of stretching, but on a physical side of things, it's very similar where it's year-round you're preparing for this. During the off-season, you're doing whatever it may be, weights, you're on the ice, you're doing all sort of cardio, all the kind of physical training you might need to do, and then during the season, it's more so the maintenance. You want to keep the body kind of in tune and working as well as it can, peak performance. And pretty much.
Nice. So you've been playing ice hockey since you're 3. So
Yeah.
this is within your blood.
Yeah. So I'm from Vancouver, so Canada, you live and breathe it. As soon as you can pretty much stand. Usually your parents are putting you on skates. I know my dad had me on inline skates, I think, before I could even stand up on my own. A few pictures of that, and then we're on skates as soon as you possibly can. And if it's not in organized hockey, you're going to be doing it out on the streets. You're doing with your friends. It's just the way of life back home. So we've kind of grown up doing it, and then it was just the natural progression. And I think kind of what led me into doing it the most was I have an older brother, and so always seeing him do it before me, and then playing with him, and then it's just kind of the natural progression as you go through. And It's just kind of the Canadian way. Everyone plays hockey.
Be quite competitive between your brother and yourself.
Oh yeah, that's I can guarantee that's why I kind of turned out the way I did, is because he's 2 years older than me and he was significantly bigger than me, so he beat me always, and that's kind of where you build that fire, that competition, and then once you start playing kids your own size and your own age, and you can kind of do well at it, it just makes it more fun, and it's that competition that you get from it.
So you've travelled quite a bit with professional ice hockey.
Yep.
Been all over the place.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I was able to kind of travel all around North America growing up, and just kind of doing our junior hockey, which is about 16 to 20, was the first time that I got to move away from home. That was about one province over, and then it was moving to collegiate for university. I was over on the other side of Canada and got to see kind of the other side there, and then right after that was the first time I got a chance to play professionally, and that's where things kind of get really exciting. I think I was over to Germany for the first time, and like what a culture shock that was. So I got to do that for a season, and then did the UK for a bit, and then was fortunate enough to find my way all the way over to Poland and Hungary. So I got to do kind of the full sweep over there, and then including in that was coming over to Australia and then getting to kind of start my roots over here.
Amazing. So talking about studying your roots here in Australia, you're actually at university doing your degrees in criminal justice and law.
Yes.
The disparity between ice hockey and criminal justice is amazing.
Yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that. How did you get to that point?
Yeah, there's not too much crossover. I haven't met too many people that have kind of done the same path so far, but that's one thing we're very fortunate for in Canada is while you're playing, you can earn your scholarship to go and do your undergrad degree. So I was able to go and do the 4 years paid for through that. And when I'm playing hockey growing up, the last thing I wanted to do was go back to school. Like high school was just kind of getting through it where you had to be there. And then it was during the 4-year undergraduate degree that I realized it doesn't suck. You don't hate it. And I kind of enjoyed it more and more. And then I took a little break there to go play professional over in Europe. And then it was while I was over there, I was thinking more and more about how much I did enjoy it and maybe pursuing something afterwards for hockey. And then it was just completely by chance that I ended up in Australia. It was a friend of mine, Todd, from about 10 years ago. I met him in Canada. He was playing with one of my friends, and he just sent me a random Facebook message, "Hey mate, I have a proposition." And I turned to my friend, I was in Manchester. I'm like, "I'm going to go play hockey in Australia." You just know right away. So I ended up coming over here, and so for the first 2 years I was here, it was just to play hockey and just kind of enjoy the lifestyle over here. It's great. And then that's when I started kind of looking into the schools over here. And because it's the Commonwealth countries, the legal programs or legal systems they all kind of work together for the most part, so they're transferable. So I realized I was able to do my schooling over here. And once I figured that out, I signed up. I'm here for 3 years, and it's definitely a culture shock. And I'm actually, during the season, they overlap. So I'll be in the library for 8-9 hours just reading, just my mind melting. And then I walk over to the hockey rink because it's right across the street from the school I'm going to, Macquarie. And then you go and play a game. So that's about as stark differences as you can find.
Amazing story. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be back soon. Welcome back to the panel shows Play the Game. I am speaking with professional ice hockey player Grant TOULMIN. Grant, we were just talking before the break about you being over here in Australia. You are studying bachelor's degrees within criminal justice and law, and you're here playing professional ice hockey. How much do you love Australia in comparison to playing in Vancouver?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's so easy to just fall into the lifestyle over here. I mean, we're not used to winters dropping down to a freezing 15 degrees. So we get down, like, I mean, I was playing in minus 60 degrees at some point. So this lifestyle is very easy to live here. As for the hockey, it's definitely a bit of a culture shock on the difference for it. As I said, in Canada, that's the #1 sport. That's the most viewed for us, and you get the big attendances, and it's just everyone loves it so much. So coming over here, it's definitely a smaller market. It's more of a niche, but I think that also has its advantages to it.
Grant, we've actually got some footage here of you. We're just going to have a quick look.
Being on the ice it's amazing. It's very fast-paced, it's loud, it's quick, it's in your face. My name is Grant. and this is my life in motion. I'm a forward for the Manchester Storm in the Elite Ice Hockey League. Being from Canada, it was based around hockey. It's almost a lifestyle. We've grown up watching it, playing it in the streets, playing it at every level and every way you can, and you just can't get enough of it. You just always want to be playing it more and more. We eat, breathe, and sleep it. You step out on the ice for the first time, the air is crisp, it's cold, it hits your face, and you just know that you're about to go to work and do what you love.
You ready? Okay, he's ready. 1, 2, 3. When the
It's such an adrenaline rush, almost like a drug. When you're in front of a big crowd and they're loud and it's an exciting game, it's just so easy to get caught up in, and the fans are what really make it. Is when the arena is just, it's bumping and you can't really hear yourself think. We have the best seats in the entire rink. We're sitting ice level right on the boards, watching it go on, and when you're out there, you don't think, it's too quick. You can't stop and take in the moment. It's just happening. You'll see a lot of fights. It's part of the game, and tempers they get heated really quickly. So aggression flares in a heartbeat, and you get caught up in the moment very quickly. To say my job is to play hockey, I think that's the coolest job on earth. Unbelievable getting to wake up every morning and just having to worry about going to the rink and doing something I love. It's really cool.
Grant, that is quite intrusive and invasive sport, but looks like you love it. You really do. Can you predict that professional ice hockey or ice hockey within Australia is going to go up on the rise like it is in Canada?
It's definitely going the right way. I've already been here 4 seasons, which has gone by in a flash. But just from my first year to my 4th year, you can already see such a growth from how the teams are developing as a whole within their management and what they're doing to attract fans. We have one guy on our team, Scotty Stevenson. He's our captain as well as kind of our marketing director. So he's the one who comes up with all the wild ideas to get guys out. And I mean, at one point he had me in Speedos and I had the zinc on the nose and the helmet and was going over the rules of ice hockey. So he gets us doing all those kind of things, but it transfers into more people coming. You can see more fans coming out to the games. And all the way across Australia, we play all the way across the country, and you can see it's growing, and that filters all the way down to the youth. You can see a lot of the time before our games and before our trainings, you'll see the youth teams training, and the numbers are growing, and there's more and more coming, and that's really cool to see, because in Canada, you don't notice it as much because everyone plays, and you're so used to it. But when you can actually see it growing and having more people come up and just being so excited by it, it's a lot of fun. So it's really cool seeing it from the other side.
Speaking of youth, if you come into, I guess, play with a young Australian that wants to start somewhere in ice hockey, what piece of advice would you give them?
Oh, stick with it. It's a lot of ups and downs. You're going to have some bad days, bad months. You're going to have some bad seasons. There was multiple points in my career where I was so fed up, sick of it, and just didn't think I was going to be going anywhere. And it can really put you in a bad place when you think about it too much. But you just have to revert back to why you play. It's a game. We love it. You enjoy it so much. So anyone going through and coming up is just stay with it, have fun, and if it's ever getting too serious, just remember you're just playing a game.
That's it. I think we sometimes forget that the fun of it, we forget that it has to still be fun. So I think that's a beautiful piece of advice for someone that's watching. So, you're studying as well. That's so content heavy, plus keeping up a professional career. What do you do to counterbalance both of those? What's your passions outside of both of uni and sport?
There isn't too much when either are going on. It's so full on. As you said, it's in the library full time, and there's only about 2 months of the season where it overlaps with the school, and it's ridiculous. There's no time to do anything. But when I get the brief little bit, which I'm in right now, the off season, and school just ended actually last week. So for the first, I'd say, month, it's unwinding. It's just enjoying not having any responsibilities or anything like that, and I guess having to start working again. But right now it's traveling. I love going around, and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed this until the opportunity that hockey gave me to kind of go around and see the rest of the world, and started with Europe and going around and seeing Australia. So I love just kind of planning the next trip. As you said, it's finding the next place you want to go. And now that I'm in Australia for a little while, I want to start kind of doing the little spots around here. I think over Christmas I'm going to check out Bali and start seeing some of the places around. So it's kind of planning the next trip.
Lovely. And could you see yourself transitioning into like a coaching position within ice hockey? Is that something that you'd want to do as you get older?
Potentially. That's usually not so much a fallback plan, but kind of a retirement plan. Is a lot of players do like kind of shifting into maybe the coaching role. And I've always kind of thought about it. It's always been kind of intriguing, and because you've been around the game your whole life, so it's very easy to want to stay with it. And immediate plans, not so much, but I think when children come along, if they choose to play hockey, I want to have a very active role in it.
That's lovely. So Adam, speaking of coaching, you're baseball mad. You loved it, you grew up playing it, and your children actually play it, but you actually own a baseball team and company. So how did that come about? How did you go from being a father who played baseball to then owning his own baseball team?
Yeah, look, good question. It's been a ride, that's for sure. I was a player back in the day, then got into my own corporate part of the world and started to learn business. Started my own civil construction business, and that grew. The family then grew, and I then started coaching. I got a 14-year-old son now, triplet 7-year-old boys, a daughter in the middle. The 4 boys play, so I've been involved in coaching for a lot of years and enjoyed it. Love the game, follow it across the whole globe. Locally, it's a good product, but I had this passion, could I make a difference? And the only way to find out was to take over the ownership of Sydney's professional team. That's been about 9 months now of hard work, juggling work-life balance, and now sport as an administrator has been challenging, but yeah, I was never one to multitask well in the past, but I've learnt that. Yeah, look, the coaching into ownership was easy for me because it is just a passion, whether it's coaching or administering. So yeah, look, I've enjoyed that transition, and yeah, to date, yeah.
Lovely. So you got 5 kids.
Yep.
Triplets in that mix as well. Are you going to push them to try and play baseball? I know one already does, but
Yeah.
is it something that's talked about over the dinner table, or they want to do their own thing?
Yeah, look, our house is driven by baseball at the moment. My wife tries to push the conversation a different direction sometimes, but it always comes back. My eldest son is right into it, loves the game, trains by himself most afternoons, trains with his teams when he needs to. And I think his younger brothers are seeing that, so they're kind of heading in that direction. But we have pushed them towards soccer and other things to give them an opportunity to try other sports in Australia. But at the moment, it is it's a baseball mad household.
It's not such a bad thing.
No, it's okay.
So you own the Sydney Blue Sox.
Yep.
What's the normal crowd attendance for these sort of games, and when do they run?
Yeah, so we're in. The season started November 15, runs through to the first weekend in November. It's played every weekend. There's 4 games played each weekend. That can be a mixture of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games, or they tend to mix a Saturday doubleheader in there sometimes, depending on how they have to transport the other teams in from Auckland or Perth, or the distant teams. 40 games throughout a season across 10 weeks means those 4 games each weekend. And yeah, look, the season right now is into week 4, and the team has started well. I think we're 10 wins and 6 losses, and yeah, look, the competition is growing in Australia as well, which is great. So yeah.
So you also own a civil construction company as well.
Yeah.
So you're still managing that, plus doing the administration for the baseball team.
Yeah.
That would be quite a heavy burden to have at times.
Yeah, it is. It's, again, fortunately, the passion I have for both allows for those long days. The phone doesn't stop, the laptop's always open. always on the road, catching up on phone calls. Managing the time at home is probably one that I've really tried to work hard on of late. Making sure that my number one priority, which is my family, is still being seen to be, given the time that they deserve. So that's been a real deliberate act of mine through those hours, and then after they go to bed, I'm back into it again, and not getting a great deal of sleep at the moment. But again, I'm loving it and getting by.
Of course, continue to do it while you love it. That's what they say.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for a novice, someone that's never been exposed to baseball, what would they get if they turned up to one of your games? Experience the atmosphere, what would we get?
Yeah, one of the things I really tried to change this year, and Grant would understand it, he's witnessed it, is a real American feel to the baseball. And they do it very well. Entertainment through dancing and activities on the field, and a real eccentric mascot, and great music that has you sort of dancing in your seat.
Hot dogs and beers.
Yeah.
We got some great food this year too. Nachos in helmets that you really struggle to finish. Literally foot-long hot dogs. Plenty of drink options. So we're trying to create a really entertaining night out. Affordability is important. So yeah, look, fans to our stadium has been the big driver this year. We've stepped away from streaming for this year. We want to make sure that Sydney gets to witness our product. So yeah, we're getting a lot of fans out there. To answer your question on numbers, our numbers are nearly double on last year, but in saying that, it's still 1,600 to 2,000 a game. So yeah, look, the stadium holds about 2,000 to 2,500. So it's a great atmosphere right now. But it's not our NRL, AFL type crowds that we have in our country. So we've still got a little bit to go there.
And you spoke about passion. So where did that start for you? Was your family involved within baseball and that's where it started, or was it a friend, or was it something that started in a park? How did you come across baseball?
Yeah, baseball started, I was a cricketer naturally as a young Aussie kid for a long time. We did it at school when I was younger. I might have been 13, 14-year-old, and came home and spoke to Dad about what I did today, and then he told me about when he played. Yeah. So all of a sudden, the passion that I already had for anything I did in life, all right, where do I get a glove? How do I get a bat? Practiced, went and joined a club, and it just kind of never looked back from there, and built some wonderful friends, got to travel the world with the game. So yeah, I think now it's just me giving back to younger kids and trying to share that same experience that I had, down to professional now, where I'm trying to give those players an opportunity to play in front of big crowds, and trying to help them with marketing ideas and improving our social media numbers for them. I didn't do it this year for me. There isn't money to be made in professional sport in Australia. So I'm giving back to the players that have been there for a couple of years and worked hard, and Sydney Blue Sox haven't been successful in that league for a long time. So we're looking to change that this year.
Definitely sounds like an amazing journey. We're just going to take a short break and we'll be back soon.
The presence internationally, geographical knowledge of who Sydney is. For me, Sydney is a must-be successful type area, and I want to drive that. My name's Adam DOBB, and I'm all in on the Sydney Blue Sox. Baseball has been a big part of my life from 15 years of age. So for me, I've always wanted to take it to the next level. An opportunity to be a part of a franchise like the ABL was exciting for me. It was the next challenge for my life that I wanted. And I really want to be a part of the turnaround of Sydney. My business life has always been about opportunity and turning things around to be successful. What a better place than Sydney to have the opportunity to turn around. We will be successful in the next couple of years. Fan engagement is massive for me. The roster on the field is important to be successful, but to give back to the fans better entertainment levels, better mascot engagement, player engagement back to the fans, more food options, plenty of giveaways, quality and affordable merchandise. We've got a great product. We just need to get it out to more kids and more families. We want to make this everyone's team, not just my team.
Adam, that's some fantastic footage. that must have really hit hard with you, you know, taking over that company, tearjerker. It must have been a very proud moment for you.
Yeah, look, proud's a good word. I've publicly said that the team isn't about me. I did it to help the others. But yeah, when you look at that, I have a passion for the region and for the game and to make a change to those players that are there now that yeah, we're friends for life. So it is a proud moment.
And outside of business and sport,
Yep.
what are the things that counterbalance all the madness? You know, what do you love doing outside of that?
Outside of my business and outside of this sport, there isn't many hours left in the day. So it's maximising that family time. An art that I'm yet to profess, but I'm working hard on. I've got 5 very loving and enthusiastic kids that you know don't sit still for long, and pinning them down and spending that quality time with them is something that I'm working on now. Passion outside of that, I'm really passionate about a lot of other sports. I try and listen and read as much as I can on successful people in life, sport and business, and even there was an adventurous recently, and I thought, what makes that guy tick? I've been interested to hear these 2 stories today. Sometimes I think I'm just looking for just that 1 or 2
that little
things.
inkling that just gives you something.
Each day just trying to get a little bit better.
It must be really inspirational for your children, though, to look at Dad, who's hustling away.
Yeah.
He's got his own baseball team. He's got his other business. You know, that's really inspiring as a parent myself, knowing that your children really look up to you and you're awe-inspiring. So it's really nice that you take time outside of the medicness to. Do you give them business tips? Do you tell your 10, 14-year-olds, you know, this is how you do business? Or?
Yeah, I think I'm at the stage now that the 7-year-old boys, I'm just letting them be boys at the moment. They don't stand still long enough to be educated in that. My 10-year-old daughter, she figures the world out anyway, so she's hard to talk to. My 14-year-old son definitely, but not even business, just life skills that I wish I'd have learned at 14. Yeah. What's coming up next year? How you should speak to your mother. You know, what is going to be next in your life with your relationships, sport. He's at a stage now where he's sport mad but wants to go through the college program. Well, if you don't start thinking about school now, mate, the college program won't be there. So yeah, I think it's more life lessons with the kids at the moment, but yeah, I'm hoping that some of those life lessons will also be, you know, business lessons as well. For me, my business strength is relationships and networking anyway. The financial management and human resource management comes with education, but yeah, if you've got that networking you know, background ingrained in you, it just makes it a lot easier.
Sure, we just touched on it before, but if someone was watching this and they don't know where to start, whether they wanted to become an Ironman or a professional hockey player or a businessman and own their own baseball team or soccer team or whatever, what advice would you give to your younger self, or would you give to someone that is wanting to start and they just don't know how or where?
Yeah, look, a good question. I think I'm more passionate than most, sometimes to my detriment. So I think I would like to be a little bit more controlling in that passion sometimes. But the advice I would give is, if you have a desire to do something or an aspiration to do something, do a little bit of research. Don't go crazy, because I've made more mistakes than most people. Learn from those mistakes, but just jump in the deep end and you'll figure it out. I think life's a lot about opportunity. I wouldn't say it's all about opportunity, but you put yourself out there and good things can come your way, and you've just got to know when to strike on those opportunities. And again, like myself, I've made plenty of bad mistakes, but I don't make them twice. So I think it's just trying to grow each day.
Yeah. I have that theory, you know, where it's like in life you need to learn which hands to shake and which hands to hold.
Yeah.
And it's a very fine line where you have an opportunity or you have a lesson.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and you'll find out either way.
Yeah, I agree.
Claire, what advice would you give?
Yes, well, triathlon, these sections are individual or solo sports, but I'm a team player and I'm a team person. So for me, I couldn't think of anything worse than going for a run on my own. So it was And they're all, well, apart from cycle, they're cheap-ish sports. You just need a good pair of running shoes for the run, goggles and a hat and a cossie for the swim. So it's, for me, it was joining a group. So I joined Can2, and that was a great friendly community. So we got coached. That to me was important. If I was going to go and start running, I could pick up bad habits and cause injury. So for me, by having a coach direct me and give me tips was what got me into the sport, and then the community around it. And then you pick up tips as well, learning what shoes do you buy? Do you need to spend a lot of money on a GPS watch? All those sorts of things. And then into the swim, that for me was being around people with water safety, because I'm petrified of the surf. So it was that, again, people around me, and getting into the pool, and being coached on stroke correction and things like that. So for me, even though they're individual sports, it was being around a team. And it's just not just the race day is what the goal is, it's the journey along the way. So it's all those training sessions, but more importantly, the coffee and the breakfasts afterwards. So I have really interesting conversations and learn a lot more about the friends that I do sport with than the friends that I would socialise on a Friday night, because we're out there for hours just talking about everyday things, about work, about life, and it's just getting to know people when you're sober, but doing a sport that you're going to feel good and healthy at the end of it.
And that's it. You touched on two good points. You know, a coach or a mentor in life, whether it's within sporting or business, are two imperative things that you need. But then also the journey is what you need to focus on, not the end state. The end state is beautiful, but the journey is the most beautiful part. And I think you expressed that quite well.
And race day can go bad. It's not prescribed, it's not written down of what is going to happen, and your results, you're not necessarily going to do your best on that day. So if you have really great training events, and times with your friends, then that to me is what the journey is all about, and it's part of the fitness.
Interesting. And Grant?
Yeah, very similar to that is just there are going to be bad days. It's not always going to go as you hope. So it's kind of following through and sticking with it for the most part. But if I were to tell myself back in the day, it would be just be more of a sponge, absorb more. Like when you're younger and you're playing with kind of kids your own age, things might be going well, maybe you're doing very well and succeeding, and a lot of the time, well, for myself, I would maybe not listen as much as I probably should have, because I know my dad was always giving me fantastic advice looking back on it now, and a lot of the time I'll be like, I had a good game, I scored, what do you mean? And he'd be like, well, you could have maybe tried this maybe next time, something like that. And same with coaches all the way through, is they're always giving you this advice, but maybe you're just not absorbing as much as I probably could have. And looking back at it now, I'll come to a point in my life where I'll be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense now. Maybe I should have, if I listened to him 8 years ago, I would have known what I know now. So it's, it's throughout the entire process. It's just, enjoying it as much as you can, staying with it, and just going along with it.
Awesome. So what's the plan for 2019 for all three of you? What have we got in store for you guys?
2019 is going to be pretty similar to 2018. I'm starting... Well, I will be entering my final year of law school, which is very exciting. And with that is the fourth season with the Sydney Ice Dogs. So very excited, but in saying that, I know I'm going to have to be kind of juggling both at once. So it'll be a little bit stressful, but it's so exciting.
And Claire?
Oh, triathlon. There's one in February in Huskisson. There's one in Port Macquarie in May, and it's not that 70.3 in Kona is not a qualifier, so I'd like to go to Kona in Hawaii and do the 70.3.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be beautiful.
You have to qualify for the Ironman distance, so I can support that one, but I could compete in the 70.3 in June, so that would be fun.
And Adam?
Big 2019. The start of 2019 will be the end of my first season with the Blue Sox. March, my son plays in Japan. July, I'm taking two New South Wales country teams to California and San Diego as an experience for those young men. Then our season will start again in November. Be the father in between and keep running a business. So,
It's all very exciting for you guys. Do you think that you could cross-pollinate into each other's area and genre? And do you think you could do an Ironman? Could you do an Ironman? Is that something
So I know that I definitely can't skate. My balance isn't all that good, but I love ice hockey.
Yeah.
If we could do it on carpet, I'd be all for it. And I don't think I have the mental capacity to get through to learn to run that far. I don't mind running. I don't have the patience at the moment to teach myself to run that far. So I sit here and listen to these two athletes, and I'm in awe of both of them.
If we can, you can too.
For sure.
That's it. That's
So how do we get to come to one of your games? When are your games, and where are they located?
SydneyBlueSox.com.au, you'll find the schedule, located out at Rudy Hill at the Olympic Stadium. Tickets are quite affordable. And yeah, look, so every second weekend we play at home, and then the other weekends are obviously on the road. They're of a night time, which is good. 7:30 games on a Friday night can be difficult with city traffic. Saturday games at 7:30 or a double header in the afternoon and night time sort of works well. Sunday lunchtime, mid-afternoon's more a family afternoon out. I know that a lot of families tend to be preparing for school and the next week, but we've got a lot coming up in the school holidays, which is good. So yeah, look, I appreciate the question, and yeah, it's a great day out. Even if you're not a baseball follower, it's an entertaining day, and the mascot's crazy, and the music's good fun, and the players hang around and do a lot with the fans afterwards. And
I think that's the important part, is when you watch sport, it's the atmosphere. Watching it on television is fantastic because the coverage is so close and you hear from the commentators, but actually being at the event, you just absorb so much of the entertainment.
I agree.
But you appreciate what the athletes are going through as well.
Yeah. And do you have the reverse of that, because your event isn't in a one sort of set arena?
Generally, the spectators at a triathlon are going to be friends and family.
Okay.
So it's watching the swim, them going out and coming out of the swim. But really, yes, it's three components of the swim, the bike and the run, but there's actually five because there's the transition in between. So it's watching us fumble around, trying to get our goggles off, our shoes on, get on the bike, fall off the bike. So from a spectator's perspective, it is quite fun, and raring and going for your family and friends. So there is so much going on in those changes. Yes, when we're out on the bike for 6 hours, that you might want to go and have lunch during that time. But from a spectator's perspective, it's quite fun and interacting, and there's lots going on because of the three different disciplines as well. And then your spectators,
ours
hot
are always
dogs, pretzels, beer.
They seem to always be pretty riled up. That's it's definitely a sport where you need to see it in person, because you need to see kind of the aggression and just how physical it can be at times. And we do have a very special breed of the spectators. It's always pretty loud and a lot of fun, and that's one kind of cool part of kind of going to the different countries I've been, is each one's been a little bit different. Like you'll get, like say, both in Germany and the UK, you get the football, soccer kind of standing up and they're chanting the entire time, and flags, that kind of stuff. I always thought really cool. But the one I noticed the biggest difference from watching on TV and being in person is actually baseball. Because baseball, it's on TV, it's cool, they get all the angles and everything, and you can hear the stats, but when you're at the game and the actual the sound of it, and like when someone actually gets a good hit, and it's like electric. We love going to as many games. I'm Canadian, so we only get the one baseball team in Toronto, unfortunately. Well, for the MLB anyways, and just going to it's awesome atmosphere. We love it.
It's electric, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It certainly is. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure interviewing you all today, and I wish you all the best of luck for 2019. And I'm sure that we will be seeing all of you on the map, and we may have to get out and watch some of these games and come and watch you play next season, and we'll tune in and watch you in your next triathlon or Ironman.
Thank you.
So I wish you the very best of luck for 2019.
Thank you.
So that's all we have for today on the panel show. I'm your host, Allira Cohrs, and we will see you next time.